So, if we look at this,
Wow.
we
She worked for a
have
watchmaker in Juneau before she moved
this
to Columbus.
right after that one, so
No
we
wonder she was so handy.
probably have to change these two. So we were on the right track. She
That's
lived
the
at
gold
home, she
lady's
worked
clasp.
at the
Some
clockmaker.
sort of clock?
No. See, exactly the same mistake we just made.
that
She
plant thing
was
on
in
top?
that,
Oh, those are definitely
group.
salmonberry flowers. Some sort of
then
clock?
got the thing from the watchmaker,
is
then
the
got
princess's
the home in Juneau,
This
and
looks
then
like a
had the
dinner
party.
with the old
Not in
bear
Juneau,
and
in
the very
Delos
old
Crossing. Finally.
What's in there? Another letter?
Another letter.
beef. The princess's loss. Is this from the Book of Goblins?
Not that I know of.
Well, sure looks like it could be.
The Princess's Loss. Once upon a time, in an ancient and deep forest, there lived a wise princess in a big wooden house. She had made it through the woods and to that house with nothing left but the clothes on her back and a single item from her old life, a splendid tiara. She lost almost everything in her desperate flight from the mad hunter. The trees tore the rucksack from her back and shredded her dress and left a pattern of red welts on her skin. But through it all she clutched the tiara close to her chest, fearing any misstep could cause it all to fall from her arms and break. The tiara had its own spot in the big wooden house, a pillow near the window where the sun would catch on its surface to shine and wink. The princess could stare for hours at the tiara, marveling in its beauty and running her thumb down its curves. Every morning she would wake and she would tend to it, polishing its every surface to be sure it shone as brightly as it possibly could. Then she would pluck it up, place it upon her head, and walk the woods, feeling somehow more complete. Because what, after all, was a princess without a crown? Every night she would place it upon its pillow, give it a quick kiss, and go to bed. On her way she would pause and glance back to be sure it was still there. She hated to be separated from it, but she knew it was safest on the pillow while she slept. Oh, another page. One night the princess woke to a raging storm. The wind howled against the walls, rattling the windows in their panes. Fearing a gust might burst open a window and blow the tiara to the ground, she plucked it from its pillow and brought it to bed with her. All through the night she held the tiara close, and in the morning she woke to find herself still cradling it. The storm had passed and the princess relaxed. That day was the same as any other, though she perhaps gave the tiara an even more thorough cleaning, grateful as she was that nothing had gone wrong. That night she placed the tiara upon its pillow, gave it a quick kiss, and went to bed, pausing on her way to be sure it was still there. In the morning she woke and sensed immediately that something was wrong. In the living room the tiara lay upon the ground, broken, dull, and faded. Nothing else in the room had changed. The pillow was exactly where she had left it, the window was closed, there had been no storm, no wind, no sign that anything at all could have gone amiss. Only the broken tiara moved mute upon the ground. She picked it up and held it in her arms with a guttural cry. But though she tried to fix and polish it, it was gone, beyond repair and with no shine left. Is that the baby she lost? Was the princess the pregnant woman? And the tiara the baby she had? And the tiara broke, so the baby broke? Am I reading this correctly? The princess held her tiara through the day and through the next night, sitting in the same spot at the window where she used to polish it. When the sun rose, she looked outside and her gaze fixed on a sapling. She remembered how this sapling had survived the winter, clinging to life despite the frozen, unforgiving earth. Without a word, she went out and buried the tiara in the ground beneath the sapling, and as the final scoop of dirt fell, the tiara felt truly gone, and with it the final link to her old self. She could only go forward and find a new place for herself in this world, where she was no longer truly a princess in a tiara and a beautiful gown, but a wan woman alone in a deep and ancient wood. That's the story she read, right? In the flashback we had to the night where she died. That's the flashback story. That's the one she read. And that wasn't in the book. And that was how the princess lost her most precious treasure and her title. Yes, that was that story. That's the start again, right? Yes.
And that was how the princess lost her most precious treasure and her title. That was the story she read us that night.
God. It makes sense now.
Yeah. She got pregnant. And she ran away to start a new life. And then she made her way to Delos Crossing, where she was finally happy. But then the baby died.
I can't even imagine how she must have felt. She left everything behind. Built a whole new life for him. And then he was just gone.
I guess having us helped her move on. But when it looked like we were gonna be taken away, she snapped. She just couldn't lose any more children. It really wasn't anything we did.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all this.
I don't either, but all I wanted was to understand what happened to her. And now I do.
Yeah. We still haven't seen what's in that chest.
Well, there's one letter remaining. I kind of want to look at the other things before we move
Okay,
on.
so how do we open it?
Yeah, well, don't worry. Are those the collectibles?
There you go, Stalwart Moose. The Ice King goes in the forest, obviously. We'll let the mangy muskrat have his rock back. Back in your pond, Big Frog. The old bear's gotta be in his ice cave.
So do we have all of them? Because
Old
we can
Lace is
set them
locked
all
up in the
down.
castle. Here, the secret keeper, hiding secrets in the clouds.
Is that all? No, that's not all of them, right? No, there are more over here. I think we missed some of them.
That's the Pious Pelican spot.
Or did
Crafty
we?
goblins go here. The moon hag's gotta be imprisoned in her lake.
I'm glad we don't have to figure it
Burial
out
beaver
ourselves.
devil goes in her den. Mad Hunter, always on the princess's trail.
Yes, and the last one?
Princess goes in the big wooden house, of course.
Yep, we got all of them. Sweet.
The princess lost her most precious treasure. That's why it all happened.
I still can't wrap my head around it.
That was quite a shocking
Why are
revelation,
these
to be
pictures
sure.
from the Book of Goblins here?
I don't know. Hey, I want to take a crack at this one. Why don't we solve this one first?
Also, there are more. Yeah, I'm gonna put this into 2 videos. I'm not gonna put it together like the break we took when we solved this. I'm just gonna put this into 2 videos because this is taking forever. So we have an orange. No, that's the red one. Where's the orange one? An E.
Why don't we just break this open? There's a crowbar right downstairs.
What? No. You don't want to try and figure out what all this means?
Yes.
We solved it. Ooh.
Whoa.
Did it just get darker in here?
Dear Allison and Ollie.
Ollie, she noticed. I was her son.
Dear Allison and Ollie, we write stories to understand and be understood. But what good is a story without a first act? I'm sorry I kept mine from you for so long. All my love, Goblins.
Why does she
My
have a photo of
goblins.
that tree locked in here?
Is that?
Leo Ronan.
Why didn't she tell us about him? Why didn't she tell us any of this?
Sometimes you can't.
It's fucking terrible. That's why. Allie, did we do the right thing opening this?
We did. It's better we know what happened, even if
The
it's
letter is to Allison and Tyler,
There's
or
one more
Ali
thing I
as he
need to say.
Are
was
you sure?
named Van.
Yes.
So it's the right thing we found it. Certainly.
Let's go to the dock. It's time to finish this.
The crafty goblin's loot.
That's from The Princess and the Two Thieves. I drew the original.
And I distinctly remember drawing that cake, which is arguably the best part of that illustration.
All right, Picasso. Then you probably remember what the goblins stole in that story, huh?
So what did they steal? There it is. Da, 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 da. Alright. The wise princess realized that food was disappearing from her house. It was not much. Only a few fruits and nuts and eggs. Fruits, nuts, eggs. Fruits?
Maybe they took some of the princess's fruit?
The eggs? And the nuts. Is that nuts? I can't tell, but we certainly have that. Maybe it's the birds or the mice, and for a time the princess was okay with losing some food. Winter was long, blah 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 blah. Spoons and plates, forks and knives, and blankets. Spoons
What if they took some spoons?
and plates, forks and knives. I wonder if that's the eggs. Yes.
I'm pretty sure they stole some eggs. That's it. I always wondered where that drawing went. She said it was her favorite, and then one day it just disappeared.
You are the best mom in the world, the prettiest princess. Ah, it's pretty sweet. Alright, one solved.
The old bear's gifts for the princess. I'm totally blanking on that story. What did he give her again?
So we need to read the stories, okay. Just gonna put one here. A salmon, probably. He considered simply killing a salmon, but then she screamed again and he lumbered over to investigate. After a short walk, he found the prince clinging to a top. Well, of such a situation, after all, as a fellow predator, he understood the wolf's need to hunt. But when he saw the princess, he was struck by her beauty and he knew he had to help. So he was helping. The wolf took off. She regarded him fearfully. You can come down. I don't know, you didn't save me so you could eat me yourself. That makes sense. Alright, so she made her way down. The bear watched her. It's not going to be eaten today. Thank you, she told the bear. Of course, I can walk back to your home. Okay, so far, nothing. She would occasionally find gifts. A fresh caught salmon.
Why don't we open up the book and check?
Where's the salmon? There's the salmon.
Fresh caught salmon?
A handful of ripe berries. Are those the berries?
A newly bloomed bluebell? Actually, I'm not sure. A handful of
Those
red
are the
berries?
berries. A newly bloomed bluebell. Yes.
A newly bloomed bluebell? Nice.
There we
Man,
go.
He had it bad. Just couldn't let go.
Sorry for the note under the door, like a prison inmate. You okay? I stopped by and rang a couple times this week, but you didn't answer. I could see the light in the hayloft, so I figured you were in, but didn't want to talk. I hope I didn't ruin everything. I know I probably came on kind of strong, but the thing is, I don't know how to talk to a woman like you. You are strong and kind, and you know so much. It's hard for me to know how to keep up. I guess all that went to my head. That's a helicopter. But I want you to know that I got the message and I'm gonna get out of your hair now, and there doesn't need to be any bad feelings. We can pass in the street and say hello or not, it's okay. P.S. I noticed your car was leaking, so I put some sealant in there. You might need to take it to the shop though. Let me know if you want me to come with you, because sometimes these guys try to rip you off. If not, no big deal. Sam. I kinda like Sam, he feels alright. So Sam gave her gifts. Okay. She apparently didn't take too lightly to his attempts.
The very old beaver's repair list.
That's the story where the princess's house gets damaged by a storm and the animals help her fix it.
Yeah. What did they do to fix it again?
Okay, the fixing story. Stop, princess, let me do it for you. I'm happy to do it. But if you want to help with the roof, you may. When repair we're done with the roof. So, the roof.
She fixed the roof shingles.
I could throw my body against what? And there was when repair were done with the roof and the walls.
She fixed the planks that were blown off the wall.
They examined the bent support post. I could throw my body against it. I am very large. So, a support post.
She slapped the post with her. All right.
There we go.
Damn.
Another letter.
That must have been rough.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he doesn't really like to talk about her.
Dear Marianne, you cover your ears every time I try to have this conversation with you, so I thought I'd have a better chance doing this in a letter. Smart. I know you don't like saying goodbye, so I'll keep my melancholic rambling short and sweet. Well, short is good. I want to thank you with all my heart for taking care of me for these past few months. I can't even imagine how exhausting it must have been for you to look after a sick old lady when you also have 2 small children at home. Who is the sick old lady? I know you want me to keep fighting this disease and hoping for recovery, but it's always been a great strength of mine to know when it's time to let go, and that time has come. I'd like to ask you for one last favor. Please take care of Eddie after I'm gone. My poor boy puts on a brave front ever since his father died, but I know he's in pain. Oh, that's Eddie's mom, okay. I would be so much more at peace knowing he still has family. Maybe you could teach the kids how to fish. He loves spending time with them. Thank you for the warmth and the peace you brought to my life. Give the kids a kiss for me, will you? Carol. Okay. We found Carol's last words.
Crafty goblins' good deeds.
Of course, the goblins had to help out the creatures of the forest to pay off their debt to the pelican.
Well, what did they do?
You know, I don't really remember.
What? Drop the beehive? Feed? help, hug, scratch, remove a thorn. Okay, so which story is that? I distinctly remember the picture, but I don't. Where's the story? The depth of a pelican. Thieves? Is that it? No. That it? No. The pelican helps her friends. Or is it? No. I don't think so. They pay off their debt to the pelican. There it is. Pelican forgives the goblins. So what do we have to do? There are king crabs in red, blue, gold, and scarlet. Mainly blue shrimp, pink pelt, scallops, long brown clumps. Okay, so they help. The goblins guard the crabs, but when they finished, they found out that they were still hungry. She won't miss a handful of shrimp, said one goblin to the other. The goblins scarfed the shrimp, but when they finished, they found that they were still hungry, maybe also a few scallops, said one goblin to the other. The goblins scarfed the scallops, but when they were finished, they found that they were still hungry. So they went back for clams, and then urchins, and finally even the sea cucumber. Finally, they were not hungry, but there was also nothing left. Just when the pelican woke up. Alright, so they ate all of the pelican's food, and then he was mad. Okay. Unable to lie about it, the goblins confessed their crime. The pelican was dismayed, but she was a charitable-hearted bird, and she could tell the crafty goblins were growing little creatures. I will share my food with you, but you must in return follow my example, and be as generous with others as I am with you. Okay. So now we get the things we need, but we have nothing to give. You have your nimble hands and your crafty brains and your loving hearts. They realized how much they had to give, and for the rest of the day they looked for ways to help other creatures of the forest. So it's really all about this page. They found a stalwart moose struggling with an itchy, hard-to-reach spot on his back, and so they climbed up and gave it a good scratching. There's a moose. Scratch.
They gave the stalwart moose a good scratch on the back.
Next they helped the old bear, who could not get the honey out of a narrow beehive.
They broke open the beehive for the bear.
They climbed up on top of a tree with a hive. Finally they found the princess, crying over a loss she would not speak about.
They hugged the princess when she was crying.
There we go.
Nailed it. Our lives would have been so different if their friendship hadn't gone to shit.
Oh, it's from Tessa. The Pelican Crossing is a specialty gift boutique located near the Oshia Glacier, catering to Gastineau Chanel tourists as well as Delos Crossing locals. We specialize in an assortment of high-quality products from home accessories, handmade souvenirs to personalized apparel, and locally made art. The Pelican Crossing will be the first store to act as a relay between the buzzing arts and craft scene and customers. In addition to a wide array of novelty handcrafted products, the consumer will enjoy friendly and knowledgeable customer service from Vecchi store co-owner Tessa Vecchi and up-and-coming artist Marianne Ronan. This business plan is prepared to obtain financing in the amount of $20,000 to purchase inventory and to help cover expenses in the first year of operations. In year 1, the Pelican Crossing plans to break even, and in year 2, we plan to generate a moderate profit. Working on the executive summary part of our business plan, what do you think? So they wanted to get a business going together? That would have helped her. So I think that's
You really want to go? You sure we've seen
more or less
everything?
everything here. Yes, I think we've seen everything. Yeah, let's go.
Either way, I'm ready for this to be over.
Me too.
This is it, right? This is more or less the end. We found out the end of the story. Actually, we still have to figure out who our father is, so this isn't the end of the story, if we find out. So, yeah, I'm gonna call it quits for this episode, and we're probably gonna wrap it up next time. Maybe. Who knows what's still left to come, but I think we're gonna wrap it up soon. So, hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. We have had some pretty shocking revelations, especially with how she lost the baby and all. That was surprising. I did not make such connections, but it explains a lot of things. It doesn't justify things, but it explains them. That's a big difference. And I think the story has explained most things pretty well, and there's one thing left, who is our father. That's really the thing we have left, and everything else was... It put a little light on her story. We really have only received bits and pieces throughout, and now we got a little light on how her story went, and... Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and until next time, farewell.